Okay, you're ready to go.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It is 9:03 a.m. on December 5th. This is the Weston Public Schools Communications Committee meeting, which is being called to order. The first order of, and to establish a quorum, we do have a quorum. There are two Board of Ed members present, Nicole Wallach and myself. The first order of business is approval of minutes. Now, this is not a typo. I'm not going to misspeak, but we are going to approve the meeting minutes from March 1st, 2024. That's the last time we met. The band is back together. We have a new player, but our drummist is evidently someplace warm and not with us. That would be Sharon. So what we're going to do is I did look through the meeting minutes to the best of my memory. They are accurate. So as long as it is okay, I'm going to approve the minutes uncontested, and we'll move on from there. And Jody will let us know if that's a problem, right?
Yes, I will.
All right. So moving right along, the first order of business, so to speak, is just sort of getting back together what the communication committee, the purpose of the committee, and where we're probably going to go in the future with it. So I'm honestly not entirely sure what the purpose of the communication committee is, but what I will share first is, Nicole, welcome. Every one of our communication committee meetings starts with Dan smiling, and we end with somebody smiling. So it's very interactive because by nature, the purpose of the communication committee, from where I sit is, and we'll kind of open up and talk about it, but from where I sit, it's how do we improve the communication between the public schools and the Board of Ed more specifically, and the community. And when I think about community, I don't think about the Weston Public Schools parents community or the community of folks who don't have kids in the school, but the community at large. And that's always been a gap for us, which we have tried to solve in a couple of different ways, where the Board of Ed, the public schools, we can easily message out to the parents of children who have kids in the school because we have their contact information. But a lot of what we do affects the community globally, and how do we reach out to them? So over the past couple of years, we looked at ways to improve. How do we make sure the message that we're sending out that's appropriate for the whole community, how do they get it? So things like updating the website, which ironically enough, during the first iteration of the communication committee, the public schools rebuilt the website. And in the short break that we were out on the road performing, it looks like you created another new website, Dan, without our input. And I do have some feedback. The calendar does not work. So, it's the website was one tool to reach out to the community at large, trying to make sure we broadcast meeting notices, not just through the calendar, but also putting them on the Facebook page for the Weston Public Schools. I honestly don't know where we're at with that. I know that we talked about making sure all of our meeting notices wind up on the Facebook page for Weston Public Schools. And I think Instagram, were those, Dan, the two?
Yeah, I think those were the two. But
Okay.
we were you for meeting notices, the main vehicle was the Facebook page.
Okay. All right. And then for really big topics, one of which certainly this committee is going to be tasked with is communicating out to the community the status of the school building project. And so for big topics, we would coordinate with Jody, who would coordinate with the select person's office so that they would write e-blast out, right? So we e-blast out
Yes.
through our system and they would e-blast out through their system.
Yes, historically, if there was something that we wanted to get out, we would ask Sam Nestor's office if she would include it in her town hall happenings, and get the information out that way. I could take care of moving forward since I now have access to the Facebook page, Dan. If you want, I can, continue. I could be the one that takes charge of putting our meetings on the Facebook page if that's what you want. David, I'm curious, what was the problem with the calendar?
So the problem with the calendar, which I was experiencing myself, is if you go to it's a functionality issue. So if
Mm,
you go to, and you never reproduce problems live on the air. But if you go to the westonps.org
Mhm.
site and then you go to the calendar link, I believe what you see is like a blue bar indicating there's at least something scheduled on that day.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you click on the blue bar, it pops up, at least on an iPad, like a little blip of what's happening, but there's no link to actually click on. Let me see if I reproduce it. So district calendar. Yeah, so when I look at the district
Okay.
calendar at the moment, right, I just see blue bars, for example, for today, the 5th. If I click on one of the blue bars, I can see here, I know this is show and tell is always fun, right? So here's
Mm.
my iPad. Oops, one moment. Right? And so what you see is just blue bars, which is fine,
Yeah.
indicating that there's something on the calendar.
Hmm.
And if you then click on, for example, the 5th, I can see that there's a communication committee meeting, but I can't click on anything about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no matter where I click, if I click on it, it actually closes the information.
So so it looks like, David, that is a touch device issue. So I'll look into it because on a regular computer, if you hover your mouse over the details, it pops up. And then if you
Yeah.
click on the details, it then will take you to the full Google
Calendar.
Calendar item.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and just a little bit of background for why we had to change the website, because the original website that we migrated to was owned by a company called Gabbert, which was then promptly purchased by Parent Square. And so Parent Square had their own back end that they basically deadlined all customers to move over to the new back end. So that's why we changed over to the new infrastructure. So we didn't switch companies per se, but they kind of forced our hand to make the changes. So it's similar in some aspects, different in others. I will look into this calendar issue that you're talking about to see if there's a way to make it more mobile optimized. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's just somewhere in the settings for us to make that change.
Yeah, just because I know I'm not a big iPad user, but I always test things on the
Yeah.
iPad.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a very large population. I think at one point, Dan, you ran a report for us and you were able to determine that I want to say iPad users to our website was like better than 50%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know for a workaround for now, just so you know, is at the bottom of the calendar, it says view full calendar. If you click on that, that at least shows you more. And they kind of, because it makes the calendar full screen. And then you don't even have to hover. It'll actually give you the title of the event when you're looking at that full screen.
Okay. I would not have intuitively thought to
Yeah,
do so.
right.
Okay. It'd be lovely, if I may use that word, if we could get that full calendar view to be the default view on the previous page.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll look into that.
Okay.
Can I
And
So,
also,
yeah.
feedback too?
mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously I'm new. Prior to a few weeks ago, I was a member of the public and a parent who is going on the website and navigating it. And I've been watching a lot of previous recordings of meetings. And Dan, you look very different from the meeting recordings that I've been watching. So I was surprised to see all your facial hair. But so let me just share
Well,
my
but Nicole, was he smiling?
well, it was I watched like the bigger board meetings where it's
Oh,
more people, so I don't know if he was smiling, but he did not have the facial hair, and so I was not expecting it. So, okay, so let me just share my screen so you can see like where I've been watching all of the old videos.
Yeah,
Oh no, can I share my screen, Jody?
You should be able to.
yeah, you should
Okay,
be
so I
able
have to
to.
Mhm.
center
You're a
across.
panelist.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so where is my screen? Okay. Can you see can you see that? Oh no, I have to click share.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so can you see this?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is where I've been going to find all the previous meeting recordings. And like, for example, when we were talking about the policies in the last board meeting, sorry, like 9 a.m. is a bad time for sunlight where my computer is. So I was going here and like, for example, I wanted to look at the last policy committee meeting just to better understand what was going on with these policies that we were talking about at the general board meeting. So I clicked on these links. And this is what happens when you click on the link.
Well, that's spot on. Uh-oh. I don't know about the cat, but the error message is spot on.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know why, but it seems to be happening for, I don't know if it's all of them because I didn't check all of them, but just to let you know that exists.
So Jody, I bet you we'll talk offline.
I know
how to
what
fix
that is
Yeah.
on those. But actually, if you wanted to see the recorded meeting, there are two
On the
ways that you could
YouTube,
do
I go
it.
to the YouTube page, right?
But once a meeting is recorded now, you see where it says recorded link? Go
Yeah.
back to your previous screen. When we finish recording the meetings, I've added a new feature to the calendar last year where you can click on recorded meeting link. What that other link that you're clicking on there does, it's supposed to bring you to the calendar. And I believe that may be the old calendar.
Got it.
Before we changed websites, that's what that might be.
That's
But that
exactly what
wouldn't
that
take
is.
you to the meeting recording. That would just take you to our calendar. But meeting recordings are always found either by clicking on that recorded meeting URL after it's complete, or if you go to the website and you go to the direct link off our website for recorded meetings.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So here, I think I was trying to find and as David was sharing his issue, I actually did click on, you can see here, I clicked on these recorded meetings and I saw I could get to it that way, but I just wanted to let you know that error is there.
Yeah.
As you can see,
that was probably from the old websites, and it may even be going back even further to the previous website.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So thank you for pointing that out. We'll get
Glitches
that
if we change websites. And then, so as you can see, I think I wanted to look at this October 7th policy committee meeting.
Yeah.
There was no recorded meeting URL.
Yeah, we just started populating all of those. So we're going back little by little. It was a new feature that we added recently. So we're going back and little by little, we have to go in and put those in. It's all a manual function.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I hope that you can just figure out how to connect it to the updated calendar and then you
actually we have to go in manually and remove all of those links, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So letting you know they're there. And then another thing, I don't know if this is too much work, but you can still see.
Yes.
Okay. So I know that we get, because again, like I am now getting the meetings to my email, but previously, yes, you have to go to the district calendar, but it's like, where is the district calendar? I kind of have to go and look for it. My first thought is, because it's right at the top of the page, is go to Board of Education to find the meeting link, because it's like, where's district calendar? Okay, it's like down here if you scroll and but this is actually the first thing I see when I go to the website. And so to the extent you might be able to hear for meeting information, to the extent you might be able to put in meeting links here as an additional way to get to the meeting, it might be intuitive for a large population.
Okay.
And as David was saying, he was thinking going into the calendar and clicking the full calendar view, it was a little bit cumbersome for him. So just like, I really don't know if this is too much work, but just giving you extra feedback as an additional previous regular member of the public who is trying to find meeting links.
Okay.
All right. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Nicole, that's great, because back in 1982, when I joined the board, at least it feels that way. But the great thing about you joining the board and these subcommittees is you bring a fresh set of eyes. And you bring a set of eyes as another parent, which is great. I bring a pair of old eyes as a parent. So, no, it's great. And it actually leads us to sort of what the next topic is, which is, I think one of the things that our committee is going to be charged with is trying to make sure, well, back up. There's two things that we will always be ongoing, which is looking at how to improve the communication, what happens with the Board of Ed, what happens with the public schools, with the community. But I think one of the things that we're going to be tackling over the next 6 to 12 months, 18 months, is the school construction pieces and how to make sure that the community is aware of where the work takes place. So Jody, you probably have a lot of information. as far as like, I believe there are three, our new monthly facilities meeting is a big one that we want to make sure the community is aware of. So, right, they can tune in live, obviously.
Mhm.
It's recorded. When we meet in person, it's still the same thing, right? Where we're live streaming it and it's
Mhm.
recorded. Is that right, Dan?
Mhm.
Yeah, the live ones are the in person. Okay.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that, people have access, know about that and have access to that.
Mhm.
Then there is the work of the EOC,
Mhm.
which meets a subcommittee, which meets monthly, right? So
Mhm.
they're like us in that they meet monthly. It's zoomed like this, it's live streamed and it's recorded. And then is there another committee that that's pretty much it, right? As far as
No,
like
for
meetings?
building, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, Nicole, what my thought was, and again, I always think about creating more work for these folks who already have more work than they can handle. So, but my
Cheers. Thank
thought
you.
was, I think we talked about on the website creating a overall link to like the potential construction, the potential project, like a starting point. Is that, and if we had that, we could presumably duplicate links, right? So we can actually have links specifically to the monthly facilities meeting and the EOC meetings and then other documents. So what are your thoughts, Nicole, and I guess Dan and Jody and
So,
Erica about just having like a starting point?
okay, so Jody, okay, so let me share my screen again.
Okay.
Jody, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually shared the other night where to find all of this stuff because it's all in one place. And so thank you so much. That is really helpful. I did not know it was, and Deb always was telling me it's on the website, it's on the website. I didn't know
Mhm.
where to find it.
Mhm.
And honestly, right now, I know that you told me that, and I don't know where to find it. So I know that it's there.
Mhm.
It's going to
Yep.
take me, but like I'll just again, I'll share my screen. So this is all about, and also like just for context, I have been working in education and accessing school district websites all the time for my job for years.
Yes.
So I just kind of know where to look for things. But again, if we're
Mhm.
talking about a parent who doesn't do that for a living and really never goes onto the website to find stuff, it again is it takes some time. So let me just share my screen again to show you
Mhm.
my feeling of where is okay. So Jody, don't tell me where it is. Okay.
Or it's a
So this is
test.
me just
Is
trying,
this like an escape room?
yeah, this is me just trying to find it. So I'm gonna go to first, I think I'm gonna go to departments.
Mhm.
No, it's not gonna be there. Do I go to district information? Because I know you told me it was about the middle school. So like where is the middle school curriculum and instruction? So like I don't even I know that you told me it was in a middle school tab.
Yep.
I just don't even know where to find the middle school tab.
It's actually under departments and facilities
Oh,
because
facilities.
it's relating to facilities. Yes.
Okay. Why did I think you told me it was under middle school?
No, if you departments, if you go to departments and
Yeah.
hover over that and you see Weston Middle School project.
Oh, got it, got it, got it, got it. Okay.
Yep.
So
Uh
Nicole, you were right when you selected departments, you were right.
Yes, you were right.
okay. Oh, okay. So it's just I'm because I'm trying to search under pressure. So it's
But
The
Nicole,
pressure's on.
you bring up a good point though, which
Hmm.
is that so I'm an IT person, right? So
Hmm.
I'm used to searching. You're involved with education. You're used to searching. But you bring up the point of the person who's just like, I don't have
It's
time.
time.
I'm between my work calls. I'm between getting dinner on the table, picking up my kid at soccer. I'm in line in front of the school, trying to browse the web, as long as you don't have T-Mobile. Um, and can't do it. So can we bring potentially forward on the website? And I know, Dan, we always talk about this, right? Real estate on that homepage is at a
Hmm.
premium. So like, there's probably no room, but we've got lunch menus, district calendar, transportation, community expectations, budget, safety, and security. I personally, for what it's worth, I'm not a fan of the community expectations. I think number one, personally, it's a bad look for the district that we have rules like that right there. Can we potentially uh swap out if we can't add a button
So
to that
looking
there?
into, so the way those quick links work, you're at a maximum of 6 before it then creates another row, and then it starts looking ugly. So we really want to keep it capped at 6. So it really just comes down to determining what those 6 icons are, right? So, we can swap because we've done that before, right? So we had moved, so safety and security wasn't there at one point, and we swapped it with what used to be there, which was like the superintendent updates. And because superintendent updates is actually really just part of the latest news, which is directly underneath the quick icons.
Can
So
I ask a question on that?
yeah,
If we took it, for some reason, I'm not able to open up the website from where I am. It's just giving me an error message that I can't,
Do you want me to
I
share
can't
my
open.
screen?
Yeah, if you could bring your screen up for 1 second. I don't know why I can't, but it's just not letting me go through. And go to, what if we got rid of the pictures on that row and just had the words, and then that might be able to give us that second row to add things, which if we do that, maybe it won't make it much bigger than it already is. You know what I'm saying? And so instead of having an icon and the word lunch menu, just have lunch menu. And then maybe we can get that second row to add some other things in there that might be helpful like this.
good question. I don't know if that is a limitation.
Because I remember when I went to go add the safety and security, or I went to go add this say something, see something, say something. I had to find an icon that I thought would be good for it. So I
Here's the,
think we
yeah,
can
we
remove them.
can, but when you did that, you created that second row. You
Yes, but
remember, right?
it made it bigger because I had all the icons. So I'm thinking if we got rid of maybe the icons and just had the words, yes, we might have a second row of those links, but I don't think it might make the banner any bigger than it already is. Maybe
As
we can
part of
play
the
with that.
setup on the web page, though, it says
Mm,
icons per row, and it
hmm
just caps it at 6. So I can play around with it and see if I
hmm
remove the icon if we can go over that cap. But
I mean,
I can't guarantee that that'll work.
even if it makes the second row, it won't be much bigger because we won't have those icons. It'll just be
I
words.
think the icons are really important
You
because
do?
I refer to the icons when I'm looking.
Okay.
the
Yeah, I
icons
agree.
also
Okay.
appear on the school-based websites. So it creates a little bit of consistency and
Okay.
coherence between the district site and the school
Okay.
site. And on the school sites, like lunch menus, when a parent sees the icon, it's the exact
They go directly to that.
click, it goes back to the district website. So those are like linked and fixed so that
Hmm
that content doesn't get manipulated, but it's consistent across all schools.
Okay.
So, so I can show you real quick. So hang on, stay right there, Nicole, while
Oh,
you're dry. Oh, yeah, if you want to, if
you want me
don't
to
mind,
share?
yeah, share again because I'm going to make a change so you guys can see what
Oh,
it'll look like
okay.
with 2 rows. So hang on. All right, refresh that page, reload that web page, and thank you for sharing your screen.
Yeah, of course.
And let's see if it reloads. It may just take a couple minutes, but there you go. So see, that's what it would look like with 2 rows, and I would just change it to be like a maximum of 4 icons per row. And so we would have 4 in one row and 3 in the other. So that is an option if people think that that is acceptable.
Yeah, and what about, I think it looks better with the 6 across. And I just want to clarify one thing. I have not been in community expectations since the last website. I was not aware of all the extra information in there. I think
Yeah.
the name community expectations is a bit of a misnomer, but could we potentially move community expectation? Can we change the name of community expectations? It was not what I thought. I thought it was the school climate, the hate base. I didn't know it got so expanded. But could that potentially go under safety and security? Because we tend to discuss both the safety of the students, this with conduct. Could we potentially move it into safety and security?
So I'll give you a little bit of background as to why that community expectations page is prominent, and that was in a direct response to all of the issues that were happening at Weston Middle School.
Right.
That's
And so there had been a committee that Deb had chaired when she was interim, and the decision was to make that as prominent as possible.
Okay.
So I'm not arguing for or against. I'm just giving you a little bit of background as to why that became an icon.
Okay.
Dan,
I
what
think
did you just click on there? Because that's going to the old policy
Well, yeah, I was going
website.
to say, to me, it just
Yeah.
seems like, well, obviously the anti-Semitism presentation is not a policy, but it seems like a lot of these are policies. So I'm just wondering if maybe community expectations could be we could just come up with a different word so people could better understand
yeah,
what.
that honestly, I was going back to the old website in my mind. I had no idea we had all this extra information as a result of the middle school. So I do think in hindsight, it probably needs to be relabeled and it should be right on that home page.
Also, I'm actually seeing if I click on sexual harassment and discrimination and restorative practices response, it comes up to the same policies of section 5 or 5,000. Here again, series 5,000. It all comes up to oh, never mind. Sorry, I see it's highlighted.
But I'm
Um,
going to have to change this because we changed our policy website. I didn't realize that all of these were linked to that old policy website. So I have to go back and change this.
okay. I'm
And
glad
we,
this is a helpful
Yeah,
exercise.
it is.
and we
'Cause-
do by law, we are required to post certain policies and expectations on our
Mhm.
website. So we are going to need a space to do that. I mean, we can definitely talk about what that's titled and find a more, palatable title for all of that. But there's a lot of information by law that we are required to post publicly on our website.
What about then substituting out? It seems like transportation is sort of a timely thing. It's probably a lot more important to have that in August than in December. So would it be possible to move transportation to a submenu, either at the way top, like what I think Nicole's currently showing, like can you add a drop down there or under departments? Oh,
Yeah, it would be
transportation already.
transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So potentially just swap out. It solves a problem now until let's just say July,
Well,
right? As we
yeah,
prepare.
transportation's already here.
Yeah. Is
Because
that
David, you're right. In July and August, people are looking for the bus routes. And so
right?
that icon is really important and it's what
Right.
parents go to very frequently.
Right. It's sort of like can we take, can we temporary not as you're trying to solve the problem of I think we need a central repository on the landing page of westonps.org where you can click a link and it's all about the facilities projects. And I think quite honestly, we probably should call it the facilities project because it's more than the middle excuse me, it's more than the middle school. The middle school is the potential biggest, most expensive piece of the puzzle, but we're gonna so so I'm not sure if we can try and find some way to either move transportation out of that spot temporarily, or I do like the icons. I think Erica is spot on too. It makes it easier to read, easier to find.
There's one more thing that I just wanted to sort of discuss. There is a little search icon
Mhm.
all the way to the right at the top. So, Nicole, when you were talking about looking for the facilities stuff, from a parent's perspective, like I click on that little search button all the time on websites and I try to type in like the keyword to see what comes up before I start looking for and drop downs or add other icons. Like what would you have typed into that little search button as a parent if you
Okay,
were just looking for something?
so that's good to know. I never use the search button on websites. I just look around the tabs. And I agree with you, David, that it's really not about the middle school. And I'm hearing chatter about the middle school. So even though I'm typing in middle school, I agree, I don't think it's about the middle school, but I'm typing in middle school because I think that's what people are currently viewing it as.
Gotcha. Okay.
What about
just-
as a temporary short quick fix under quick links?
That's what I was
So
going to actually say. That is another option, is to put it under quick links. It's still not prominently there, but at least it is a quicker method because we can add as many items as we want under the quick links.
Can I ask another question? What about the top banner next to pupil services, pupil personnel
That is
services?
also an option as
I
well, if
was
we
gonna
could
say,
add
can
it
we
as a
put
banner.
right up at the top, right next to pupil personnel services, we can put one more thing there that says, well, whatever it is we want to start calling it moving forward. If we want to move away from the Weston Middle School project,
That actually was going to be my initial suggestion, but you guys went down to the shortcuts. So I thought that was, so maybe David quickly references the shortcuts. For me, I type in the website address and the first thing I see is the top banner and I don't have to scroll down.
Mm-hmm. That could be a place for it, and we can figure out a name that's more, that encompasses more than just Weston Middle School project.
What
And
But
so-
it
about,
has to be clear, it has to be clear enough to be understandable
exactly.
to anybody, you know what I mean?
I
so
would
what about,
words like facilities in like construction or like keywords
Mhm.
where
Yeah,
grab people relative to that.
right.
so what about two things for the interim? So because it's top of mind now, and it's just going to have to become even more top of mind if things move at the speed that we're expecting them to.
Mhm.
Can we swap out transportation for the short term, and we will see where we are in May. But I think, and then we can go to the top banner. We can maybe substitute something else out. For example, lunch menus. Lunch menus don't probably matter until school's in session. So right, there's that prime real estate, and I think to your point, Nicole, right, people's eyes work very differently. So I'm the type of person that, I get to a web page and what I'm looking for, I just start scrolling and there it is. There's that icon for facilities or whatever we
Right. And well, that's also why they have the shortcuts.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So maybe for the interim, I guess the question is, can we find some prime real estate? It seems like maybe where transportation is for the moment, we jump in there. If not, we go to the top. And the third choice would be just under quick links, right? Because we could, if quick links is really the only place to go, and we just simply message out to the community, if you want to know where we're at on any particular day with this facilities or whatever it's called, just go to quick links, right? Because quick links by itself is on that homepage. So I would say that could be the fallback to everything else. If we don't want to rearrange anything, just put it under quick links.
The only thing I would say about that fallback, which is a good fallback, but if our goal is to try to reach everyone in town can type in the Weston School District website page and see a tab or a shortcut that says facilities. Not everyone in town is going to receive an email that says, or a communication that says, check quick links.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
it's
think
just,
yeah.
I just think as visually prominent as it can be, if we're really trying to prioritize this and trying to prioritize community input, I would agree that either a tab on the top or a shortcut that potentially replaces transportation would be user friendly.
Okay. So it sounds like I think the three options that we're considering, we'll leave it to you, Dan, and maybe we can kick this back around, would be, it sounds like our first choice is to at least temporarily move transportation, right? Because to Nicole's point, the community knows to type in westonps.org. So I think just visually, that bar is probably real estate number one. Second would be at the top of the website, an extra drop down. And then the third choice, which doesn't seem like we have to get there, at least not yet, would be under quick links. Okay. So that said, I guess we will let the powers of Dan and Jody maybe get with Erica and decide, what the best option is. But then wherever that link is, can that is very similar in concept to what we've set up for community expectations, right? So that would be the link that it could link us to like the 2017 Silver Petrocelli studies, which actually are on the Weston Town government site, right? So it's sort of like that's the repository, or that's the link where you may then get linked elsewhere. And what do we, I don't know that I think we can at least make the recommendation, but I think a name like facilities is probably really the right name because I think
Mhm.
it is much bigger than the middle school. The middle school is going to be the keystone or the corner or the, but it's really a facilities. It's what do you think on that, Erica?
I was looking at a couple of other websites while you were talking, David, and there's a variety. There's facilities, there's school construction, there's, facilities as the main drop down under the facilities department. And then when you get to the facilities webpage, there's things like school construction projects. So I think facilities is a great broad overview at this point. And then when you click on that and get to the web page, we can build that out as the time goes on and it gets more specific. Like when we get to the construction phase, that word will appear.
Yeah. Yeah, so like to your point, Erica, if we call it facilities and we have just a little banner that says, so people don't misunderstand, this is not facilities and like specifically the facilities that we already have. This is about, this is going to be the repository for meetings, agendas, documents related to the facilities study, which is really what it is at this point. It is at the moment, it's a facility study.
Yeah. I think if
Mhm.
people are looking for schools, they'll go to schools. But if you're looking for like information on the actual facilities,
Yeah,
I think it's a great word to start with.
yeah.
Now, we already have that facilities menu under departments. Are we looking to bypass the other sections of facilities and just go to the different construction projects as this new quick link or menu option? Or am I linking it directly to the currently existing facilities under departments?
Okay.
So that's a really good question. I was going to say when I looked at the facilities under the departments, there's some things that are about the construction. I think the first one on the right, the feasibility studies. It for me, it's up to you, Dan, or how to manage it. But the feasibility studies would go under this new separate f facilities. I don't know if I would leave it if you leave it there, I guess there's no harm in that. It's in two places. But things like a link to the 2017 Silver Petrocelli study at the westernct.gov site, things like the agenda for the meeting we had on, I think it was December 1st, a link to the recording for our December 1st meeting, the presentation that was given by Colliers, I believe it was, or Slam. So all those things. Yeah, and yep, that's the 2000, yeah, the
Where?
2017. Yep.
What are you showing? What?
That's that's actually the Silver Petrocelli stuff, right, Dan?
Mhm.
That's that must be new to us, our website, because previously I had to go find it on uh
Well, this
yeah.
isn't clickable.
Oh,
I don't know if it's supposed to be.
I think it's broken down into the menu underneath.
Oh, okay.
That, yeah, so on the left where it says like facilities
Oh,
condition
this is all
analysis.
phase two. This is all the, okay.
Yeah, yeah, they just broke it down by section. So the only reason why I'm bringing that up is because I don't want to cause confusion by having two different menu items, even if they're in separate locations, both called facilities. Because I don't want people to think that they're linking to the same thing when they're in fact different menu options. So like so we have that, see right there, it's sections called facilities. But if now we add a new menu item that also says facilities, I just don't want that to confuse people if it's loading up to two separate landing pages.
I think the landing page should be called facilities. And Dan, I think I have a good idea about how we could like organize the landing page called facilities in a manner that's a little bit more comprehensible, specific
Okay.
to what people might be looking for.
Okay.
Because if you scroll to the bottom of this facilities landing page, there's these little tabs at the bottom, but really those tabs should be at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then people will know, like, okay, the feasibility studies, that's going to be about, renovation, school construction, what have they learned about the facilities?
Got it.
Whereas the facilities use request, that's if somebody wants to use our facilities or rent them out or, occupy space at some time. I think we could just rearrange the page so that facilities is the landing, and at the top, it'll be very clear as to which button you click relative to the information you're seeking.
Okay.
I think what's slightly confusing, and again, I'm coming at this from the perspective of somebody who doesn't have context of 8 years of studies, somebody who's just trying to figure out what's going on with the middle school project. Jody also directed me on Monday to this Weston Middle School project. So I would think that's where everything is. So, but now like Erica is talking about the feasibility studies. So again, just coming with like not having any idea of what the feasibility studies are. Are those supposed to is somebody supposed to be looking at those in conjunction with the Weston Middle School project? If so, I think that should also be under the Weston Middle School project, even if we rephrase it.
So I think, Nicole,
There's a lot of redundancy there, Nicole. There's links there that are the same on both
Oh, there are? Okay.
pages. Yeah, so that's why I was saying to Dan, like if we take a look at it and facilities is the landing page, we might be able to reorganize it so that it absolutely addresses what you just articulated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. I agree with Erica. If we and you can and that bubble on the home page could be facilities, and it could be the exact same thing as a drop down for facilities. And I think what you're saying, Erica, is if you design it at the top of the page, right? So the landing is the same for both the drop down and the button, and then at the top you have buttons that drill down more specifically to sort of those sub menus. So are you looking to rent the gym, or do you want to know where we're at with the project of potentially renovating the middle school? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It'll take, well, I'm limited in my background knowledge on all these specific studies. So without knowing about all of them, like it's gonna take me a long time to figure out how to group and organize them. But I could tap into Dan and Phil to try to help, create an organization of all those different studies so it makes sense to the person viewing the page. Um, Relative to timeline, relative to detail, relative to, what specific school they're talking about, because there's a lot involved over like 2 decades.
Yeah. And I think, Erica, to your point, having lived through most of it, I think most of the community would be interested in the top line studies, right? And studies encapsulates that literally the 2017, the 2019 or 21 refresh rate. So maybe across the top we have studies. Then definitely one budgeting, and budgeting might be light right now because we might not have anything specific, but so studies, budgeting, maybe conceptual drawings, because we do have drawings that came out of the FOC right before that ended there, and that's on the website. So
Drawings or specs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So and maybe even like and then another one would be uh, potentially meetings and agendas or something.
Well, yeah. So here's what the Weston Middle School project currently looks like.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is pretty helpful.
Yeah. So we may have a lot of this just it's all over the place, right? And that's like if you kind of go back to where we started, that was really the piece, is that the information is out there, right? I think Erica said it, Nicole said it, Jody knows it, Dan and I know it. It's all out there. It's just not aggregated. It's just not, there's no landing or starting point. Okay.
All right.
I think we have adequately discussed this item. So that said, I believe. All right. So yeah, so then I think that's going to be as is proof. We talked about really two things here: the website usability, which is communication, and how to add some content to the website that's top of mind for the entire community. We talked about for big communication items, Jody's going to continue to, I guess, pick back up posting our meetings of all Board of Ed meetings on Facebook as that's the official. I think we decided a couple of years ago we needed one social platform, which would be the official social platform. I know we have an Instapage, but I think we determined Facebook was the right way to do that. So we'll kind of go back to posting on Facebook when Board of Ed meetings are Did you do subcommittee meetings as well, or just the regular Board of Ed meetings?
I don't know. I didn't have access to the Facebook page until now, but I
Okay.
can also do the committee meetings if we'd like to. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful because the feedback that I get, and I'm only partially sympathetic to it, is I didn't get to attend the meeting. Well, as long as I think our responsibility is to broadcast that the meeting is out there, which we do. It's on our calendars, but if we can do extra things, just again, I know I want to attend the meeting tonight at 7 o'clock, for example, but I forget. But if I get that reminder on my Facebook page at 10 o'clock this morning, it'll be right. So the more we can do, the better. But yeah, so get back up on Facebook with all the Board of Ed meetings and the subcommittee meetings.
And I also have an arrangement with the town where they have agreed to put all of our meetings on the town calendar as well. So we
Okay.
post them there as a courtesy. They do it for
Okay.
us as a courtesy.
Can I ask a question? At what frequency do you think parents like download the calendar onto their own calendar? You know, David, you're a parent of an athlete, right? So you have this Premier Baseball League, and I'm sure that you subscribe to the calendar so it syncs directly with your calendar. And as the Premier League's calendar is updated, it's updated on your phone, and then reminders pop up. I think that's like, to what degree do you think people are syncing our calendar to their own calendars? And is that something we need to advertise more broadly?
I think that's great. Dan, you may have the numbers, but I do. Like in my calendar, thank goodness there's like shades of colors because between my work calendar, my personal
Allison
calendar, my
Tracy.
family calendar, my Weston Board of Ed calendar, and being subscribed to the school calendar. But I think you're right, Erica. Dan, do we have any numbers on who has subscribed?
We don't. I wonder if there's a way I can pull that up in the administrative. Oh, Jody's.
I have a general idea because since I'm one of the owners of the calendar and I update things, I can see the sent messages that get sent out when I make an update to the calendar or a change. So I would say less than 20 people. I don't see that I get a lot of sent messages going out because I got an email from somebody one time saying, "Oh, you sent me an update to a calendar and this must not have been meant for me." And that's when I realized she's subscribed to the district calendar, and when I make changes, these people get that information, additions, updates, deletions, etc. So I would say maybe less than 20 people are actually subscribed to it.
Nicole, are you subscribed to it?
I'm not subscribed to it. I am not a leader in tech or social media or anything. But I'm on chats of parents of my demographic, and there's definitely chatter about doing it, and people do it. I think if you advertise it as a possibility, people might do it. It's just not, because I don't do it is not a reason why, like I just don't do a lot of things relating to, like, my family doesn't sing calendars. I have no idea what's on my husband's calendar. Like
Dan does house calls.
I'm that type of person.
All right.
We can help you if you want to do that.
I'm the one who goes to district calendar and manually inputs the things in my own calendar. So
Oh, Nicole, we have to spend a little time
Oh.
together.
I'm a late adapter.
Maybe my district newsletter needs to spotlight like maybe a little tiny tutorial on how we like advertise it. Hey, don't miss out. Know when every district event is going on and click this link if you want to learn how to sync the district calendar to yours. And like a little 30-second overview. And
Yeah,
Dan
that
could
would be great.
probably help us with that because he has this nice, soothing, like podcast voice.
You can do Scribe and you could show people the
No,
click-throughs.
that's a good idea because that falls into the category of I think our responsibility is to disseminate the information, but we can't force people to show up to our meetings. We can't force them to subscribe to the calendar, but we can provide the tools so that it's easier for them. And I think that's really that's the purpose of this committee, is to just make sure that we're disseminating out to the community how to get the information and then get feedback from the community that maybe there's a roadblock or a stumbling block or the website's not as intuitive as it could be, and then we improve it. And so we're trying to cater to get the information into their hands every way possible, short of bringing it to their home, which I think we'd all love to do if we had the time. But we're volunteers or way over subscribed at work. So, okay. So I think we have a pretty good understanding where we're going. I think this was a
Mhm.
really good reconstitution of our communication committee. I don't know if Nicole, if there, this is obviously a very interactive committee as well. So we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you brought your non-tech skills to screen sharing. I mean, I can
There,
tell you,
see?
I
you've
can screen
disproved
share.
There you go,
right,
Nicole.
right, right. So you've disproved your theory that you don't use tech. Um, but
Um, I can screen share. I just can't do like panels and webinars. Don't ask me to do that.
Can you split your screen?
I don't know.
can you doctor pictures of Sharon?
No, that
Oh
I can't do.
Okay,
God,
I would keep
I
them
will
in
be
Tier 4.
okay.
I'm
So
so bad.
I do have something that is might be unpopular, but I don't know if we were going to talk about this in a future meeting, but I think we should. Um, wait, do you know that Weston today already published an article following our Monday meeting?
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yes,
that's
I saw that.
okay. So on Monday, 2 days ago, whatever 2 days ago was that is today Friday? Wednesday. They
It was
published
Friday.
they published an article about the Monday meeting.
Hmm.
And again, they said middle school is back on the agenda. So it's definitely being branded as middle school. I also think that everything we talked about today isn't a great is going to be like a great step. I hope it's not too much work. It will just people who want to do a little bit more digging themselves can very much more easily figure out how to do that. Again, as somebody who has just spent a lot of time and continues to spend a lot of time doing the digging to try to really understand what's happened so far and where we're at, it's a ton of information. As you all know, it's a ton
Hmm.
of information to look back in the past and see what's going on. It's a ton
Hmm.
of information for parents and public to go to the meetings or look at meeting recordings. Yes, we were making it all available for them in one place, which is great. But so like one of the meetings I recently watched was from like May 2024, where you had a public comment about what to do about the middle school. And people in the public comment said they would participate and say, I think we should go ahead with a new middle school. And somebody would say, I don't think we should go ahead with the new middle school. And they would said, and there really wasn't a lot of detail into what they were saying and why. It was just a vote of support or a vote of no. And there was a little bit of why, but clearly they just broadly support the idea, but didn't have enough information to add more. And actually, somebody in the public comment said, I wish you could give me a Cliff Notes. So I do actually think if we really, really want public participation, public commitment, and we want public to be getting information from the school district and the board, and um, in addition to whatever Weston Today is going to put out, and we can also put out things in Weston Today, I do think it would be really helpful to actually do some kind of Cliff Notes communication so that people really understand. If you have an opinion, come to this public comment or to actually kind of refine their public comment to be something beyond just I support a middle school or I don't support a middle school, or so that people can actually understand, David, as you said, really isn't about the middle school, it's about looking at the facilities as a whole. I do think just like every time, because also we're now also doing these monthly EOC meetings in addition to the board meetings. So it's just a lot for people to keep up with when they have a lot of other things going on. So I do think it might be helpful following these meetings or monthly or something to do a little bit of FAQ of like, what did we just discuss in this meeting? Or just what is the process for getting this done? And I can definitely help with this because this is a ton of work. But I do think if we really want the public to be informed at a very minimal level beyond what they're hearing on Facebook and group chats and their interpretation of what was said in Weston Today, I do think it would be really helpful.
I think that's a great idea, Nicole. And if you're willing to help, I see this as a crossover between the EOC and the Communications Committee. Can the EOC, get the high level, most important pieces of information in a timeline that would make sense and would be digestible for individuals together? And can the Communications Committee figure out how that's best circulated? And if you're willing to be the liaison between the those two pieces, I think it would be really helpful.
Yes, I can do that.
Nicole, are you on EOC?
No, I'm not on the EOC, but I'm going to those obviously I'm going to the monthly meetings that are now about facilities. And I do just even think from those meetings we get helpful information. And clearly from that meeting, a Weston Today article was published. So there is a lot of information going on there. I'm not part of the OC, but I'm obviously happy to liaise with them. I even like I think Deb has like dubbed this brick and mortar. Um, so we could even just a brick and mortar, I know that Erica has her superintendent updates, but even there might just be a brick and mortar update where families are getting brick and mortar in their subject line of this is the cliff notes of what you need to know. And then similarly, the same thing can be disseminated to Weston Today, to Sam, just the same information, but just really basic, like how long is this going to take? Like, how long is Renovate is New going to take? How long is new construction going to take? How much is it going to cost? What are the other things? But what is the why do we need the not why do we need the referendum, but like, how is this actually going to play out in terms of timing? What does, another thing I'm thinking about is in the public comment previously that I was watching, somebody said, I don't want to do this because it's going to disrupt education to these children who are going to be dislocated. But then when you go further in the meeting, it says, well, actually, if you build as new, you won't be dislocated. So just this type of information, just very like FAQ right now, just could be really helpful. And yes,
Well,
I'm happy to liaise.
I think that's great. So here's my idea. If you're willing to sort of attend those EOC meetings virtually or whatever, and write up something, like the Cliff Notes version, then when does the EOC meet, Jody?
December 19th is going to be
Okay.
our meeting, our
So
first
what if
meeting.
we synchronize this way? If you're willing to be the liaison, right, and you attend the EOCs, you kind of write up what a Cliff Notes version of what's happening there. Then our monthly facilities meeting is going to generally be around the first week of
Mhm.
each month, the first Monday. Then if we just carve out as like a standing agenda item for the communication committee, 15 minutes, if you can then write something up prior to this meeting and send it to Jody, who can then send it to all of the members, like meeting minutes. We as a committee can read it, and then at our next scheduled meeting, we can review it, say this looks good, and then we give it to either Erica to incorporate in her next superintendent update. So you become Nicole, you do the EOC piece, kind of the cliff notes from that. If you wouldn't mind doing the same from our bigger Board of Ed facilities meeting, you combine the notes together, then it comes to communication. We have a standing 15-minute agenda item or even maybe 10 minutes just to kind of maybe tweak it or get clarification. Then we agree, we hand it to Erica, and Erica incorporate it into her next superintendent update. Does that work?
Yeah.
Let's try it and see how it works. And if we're thinking that the timeline might be too long and the information isn't getting out quick enough, we can do a standalone, isolated brick and mortar update to everybody in the district just in general, outside of the newsletter. But David, I think you like masterfully described that. Let's try it that way and see how
Okay.
it goes.
Every great failure starts with a plan. But this will not be a failure. No, it is a plan though. Okay. So that said, if there is not anything else,
No,
then
you have to run, but thank you very much.
thanks,
Thank
Erica.
you.
All right, so
Okay.
I will ask for an adjournment at 10:00. Well, hang on. Our next meeting is January 9th next year, shockingly. So with that said, thank you everyone for participating. Nicole, thank you for your fresh set of eyes. And we'll look to adjourn the meeting at 10:02 a.m.
Enjoy everyone's trips.
Bye.
Perfect.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
now.
Bye.